Yeah, you hear the puppy. Hi, Nona. Right. We get the crew going here in just a sec. Got lots of goodies tonight for tonight. So, let me get get this rolling. Oh well, folks can see me if they want to see me. I don't care.
Gone through and watched their videos where it would stop.
Hey John, how's it going? Can't hear you, buddy. Hey David, how's it going?
Hola, how are you?
I thought there was something wrong with my teams when John came in. I couldn't hear him, so I'm like,
Well, right now he's
not,
muted.
you know.
That or it's an April Fool's joke.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah, just like having those two guests today. I'm sure it's an April Fool's joke.
Yeah.
See, if I'm lying, say something. See, he hadn't said a thing.
No. So what have you been up to? But making lots of music for me. I haven't had a chance to download the latest. All right.
Okay, well, the latest, it's Michael the Midget. Actually, it's Wormapalooza related, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yep. I tried to do the representative of the King of Nigeria, but, yeah, it just doesn't turn out right.
It doesn't come out right.
It's just a crazy cartoon voice.
Really?
Yep. Which is fine, but it's not the representative.
Yeah.
To the King of Nigeria! Yeah, it's just a gravelly, kind of high-pitched voice. Yeah, he's still muted.
Yeah.
Still muted.
I know we're early, but, you know,
Yeah.
I like to get everything up and rolling as
That or it's an
much
April
as I
Fool's.
can and get good sound
Yeah.
levels and things like that. Makes everything smoother later, you know, as we
Yep.
go along.
There we go. He finally unmuted. Hasn't said anything. It's Michael the Midget. Fool's joke, but we can't hear you.
No, I'm here.
There you go.
There you are. I'm not going to ask about your dog because your dog is fine now.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Zeus is doing pretty good, and Nona is, man, she's pudgy. God, she pudgy.
Yeah.
Mark, you know you're pretty well in your camera today. You're not really.
Yeah, I really don't.
Yeah, normally it's just the Gandalf pipe.
Yeah, I'll wait up here in a few minutes. I mean, hey.
All right, but you're like fully in frame, just so you know.
Yeah, you know, but you know, I'm not turning to look at the mic, the camera. You know. But it don't matter to me. I'm like, I really don't care anymore. But it's like, oh well. I mean,
Yep. Once the hair goes, so does everything else, right?
Yeah. You know, when my hair, after my hair left, you know, I lost my mind, and then from there, you know. And after the women and, you know, the military, that went my soul. So,
Well, there you go.
yeah, so, you know, what do I have left, really? You know, but
Yep.
my kids. You know? And the shows.
And the Spider-Man poster on the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have
I
that
got a
too.
bigger one out in the living room, but. Yeah. Oh, you
It's
see
not
the
about the
Godzilla
size
too?
of the poster.
You see my Godzilla too?
Is that Godzilla? I can't quite
Yeah.
tell. Oh, there it is. Yep.
Yep.
Gojira.
Gojira.
Yep.
There goes my pipe. Okay. Cheers.
Okay.
And I can't be
You
online
get
without my pipe. You know that, right?
right.
It's not only a signature, but a must.
We need to get you a floppy wizard's hat.
A floppy what?
Wizard hat.
Oh, okay, yeah. That would be
Yeah.
okay.
All right, where's Barry? How long does it take to make a fried bologna sandwich?
Oh, you know, Barry only comes in like last minute and things like that, so it's okay.
You know, sometimes he's early so he can hook everything back up.
Yeah.
You know, he likes to pretend he has another life and other duties. You know, I let him go with it. I don't want to, bust his ego too badly. All right, so you're going to open the show with that they found Nancy Guthrie's mom?
Did they?
No, it's April Fool's.
Nancy Guthrie. It's, is that her name?
Is Savannah Guthrie?
Savannah Guthrie.
Is Nancy the mom?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so Nancy is missing. So that's even better. They found Nancy Guthrie's mom in the grave where
she
they
was
buried
at the
her.
funeral where they buried her 80 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And then you April Fool's it, and it's...
Well, I'm glad we started out early because one platform went down already on me.
Mm-hmm. Went down on you like a Thai lady boy.
Leave it to BitChute. Always having to change the keys all the time, you know.
Oh, yeah. So if they shoot down this whole birthright citizenship thing, does that mean they're going to deport Barry? Aren't his parents illegal Polish immigrants? I think they are. I think his parents are illegal Polish immigrants.
Come on, Polish immigrants.
Yeah,
That would be
illegal Polish immigrants.
My family is in that too. You know, I'm fourth gen.
Yeah. You can trace some of mine all the way back to the Mayflower.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know. Didn't know I had, Puritans. Believe me, that wore off a long time ago. Yeah. We started mixing with the native population, it all went to hell.
Yeah, and then they became the Blackfoot Indian.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
then I found soap, and I was no longer Blackfoot.
I have ties to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because my family on my mother's side goes back to Pennsylvania Dutch, which is, real strong influence with the Blackfoot Indian.
Right.
Yeah. Try to
I
get.
think I'm Shawnee or Pawnee. Can't remember which one.
Shawnee was up in
Yeah.
that one. Yeah. In the
Well, this would have been in
were-
Louisiana area.
Yeah. But they went all the way up into Pennsylvania and New York and other places too.
Okay. I got John the link, and we got Brent all set up, and it's going to be a good one tonight, man. Boy.
Sounds good. What the hell?
You don't want to say what the hell. That's never a good thing to hear. Something else go down?
No, it just won't go up. I don't know why. It won't connect. Let's try this again.
Oh. Big gulp, baby.
Oh my God. The giant one?
There
The
we
grotesque
go.
gulp?
There's Barry.
I didn't know they made a 128-ounce soda.
Yeah, right.
Like a trash
Oh
can
man, we're
with a
getting our
straw.
bees here in a couple days.
Your bees?
Yeah,
Cool.
like I don't know, like 100,000 of them or something.
Yeah.
Some crazy number. He's gonna be back here on Sunday with them, and I'm getting a bee suit. He's buying one just for my size.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which is wild. I've never had a bee
And
suit.
you got your smoker?
I might have one. I don't know. I haven't seen it.
You'll definitely need a smoker because the
Mhm.
bees will like fill up on honey and their stomachs get so full that they can't get their stinger around to get you.
Hmm.
Yeah, but you will get nailed through the suit. I've been told.
If it's up against your skin, yeah. But the thing is, if you smoke them, you'll be fine. Just don't get too overconfident and don't be afraid. They'll sense fear.
Yeah, I was told they don't sense fear, but
They do
still
sense
to
fear.
be confident.
Yeah.
And move slow.
Yeah.
He said moving
Yeah.
slow is like the number one.
Slow and deliberate. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
So
then
that's gonna be
get
weird
some
by the time I
pots
see you
and
guys Sunday
pans and
night,
make
I'll
as
have-
much noise as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, they love that.
Fireworks?
Yeah, fireworks. That's a good thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
they will also follow your breath. Yeah.
Really?
Because they can sense carbon dioxide.
I thought that was
Yeah.
mosquitoes.
No, well, them too, but bees can follow you because of your breath.
Okay. To our listeners at home, the date is April 1st.
Yeah.
Did you guys see that?
I actually did a show on killer bees years and years ago, and they talked about that. I'm like,
Okay.
that's freaking amazing, that they could do that, but oh well.
All right. So, CS, you were saying something?
Yeah, did you guys see the rendering of the Donald Trump's library?
Library or ballroom?
No, his library.
No.
They just put it out the other day, and man, it is cool looking. It's the first building I've ever seen that it's not designed for any sort of practicality in a way. You know what I mean?
You talking about Obama?
No, it wasn't for Trump. I mean, it's like you see high rises that are like office buildings or condos, right?
Okay.
You rarely ever see one that's just like hollow. You can see right through most of the thing. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's really cool. It's very, very. It's so different than any high rise I've ever seen. It'll be very, very cool. And you know what? It'll be under budget and done like under timeline too, I bet.
Yeah, but 17 federal judges will stop it from being built. You know how it is.
Only
Exactly.
17? Come on.
Only 17. Yep.
Only 17.
That's just that's the federal ones, not even counting the district judges and Yep.
We had a judge just the other day halt the ballroom construction.
Yeah. Yep.
Which is like, why, dude? Why? What's the point?
Yeah.
Well, there's some preservationists want to, talk about preservation and what preservation? It's all gone. Everything's gone. We're building a new one. That's it.
Yeah.
No
I thought it was already bulldozed.
Yeah, it's gone.
It's like, okay, what do you want us to do? Rebuild it from the rubble?
Well, I'm really surprised that Trump doesn't want to take and rebuild the Capitol and right out front of Mount Rushmore. Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah. Well.
That way,
he's
every
small with the
time
ballroom.
people come out, once it's done, they'll see his face there.
Yep. After the ballroom, he should work on a throne room and really piss off the liberals.
Throne room.
I ain't talking about no fancy toilet.
Roger's rebroadcasting us and then kick chat now. Oh yeah, and Big Joe's in there and who else we got? Legatigo.
For everyone out there listening, tonight is a big show. We're going to have John Ottman, the chairman of the board for Minds.com, and Brent Hamachek, and they're both going to be on for the full 2 hours. So, it's going to be a really good
shoe. Really big shoe. Right?
Yeah, I'm very excited for this. I've been just pumped all day.
Yeah, but what you don't know is that they were both April fooling you.
Yeah, they might be.
Yeah, and when you send them the email, they're going to be, oh, I thought you knew it was April 1st.
I don't think Brent is. John might have been.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, I think Ottman has going up into space with the Artemis 2 crew on his calendar. So yeah, he might be kind of busy. I don't know. He might be looking like a Skype call or something from space. Yeah, with Starlink, I'm pretty sure you could broadcast from space. So.
Yeah, it's just hard to mount it on the tip of the satellite. That's
the hard part.
You use a suction cup in the telephone, just like everybody else does in their car.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on now.
You put it inside the capsule in the cup holder. Come on, man.
The cup holder.
The thing is, though, you launch
real-time
solution.
solution.
Crying out loud, get with it. It's the 2000s now.
The thing is, though, it's
we're
you put it on the cone, but then
in like
when
the
you get
60s
into outer
and 70s CS, come on now. They didn't even know what a cup holder was back then. Uh-oh. Did you get cut off? All right. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I got cut off.
T minus 52 minutes and counting, just so you know.
Yeah. Now you can see
That's a
me
big
with
deal.
the geeky room that I have.
It is. Have we heard from Barry yet? I mean, I know he's there, but...
He's got like a heartbeat.
Ka-dunk, ka-dunk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you say a heartbeat?
About every 20 seconds he lights up for 1 second.
Yep.
And his bullhorn does not have an American flag on it. It's got a hammer and sickle.
What?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. Yep, to the viewers at home.
All right, man.
There he is.
Yeah, glad you made it so we can stop talking smack about you, but welcome in.
I'm glad to be here, man. I'm just having some tea.
You psyched, man?
Are you spilling the tea?
Am I spilling tea? No, I'm going to be spilling the beans tonight.
No. Spilling the tea is telling the truth. I'm going to get you all hip pretty soon. It's going to take a while. But we'll get you in on the street lingo. And, yeah, spilling the tea.
I can't wait to be schooled to be hit by none other than David Hogg.
Exactly. First, you need to get a bicycle. Very important. Bikes are, chicks dig bikes, man.
My bicycle, man. I do.
Okay.
I think they should name a song after that. I want to ride my bicycle. That would be a great song.
Yeah, exactly. And songs about females with extremely large posteriors.
There you go. I like
Don't you
that
think?
one. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
big
Yep.
booty babes.
There you go.
Well, I mean, it is Cardi B's thing,
We don't
right?
want fake
she's
either.
a, she's
We
stellar
want the real meat.
artist. Don't try to take anything away from Cardi B, man. She is super
Yeah.
talented, man. She is.
named herself after Bacardi, which is pretty funny.
Your dad's talking about big booties on the air.
Oh, I got told on. Oh well.
Yeah. That's just the Guatemalan housekeeper. Nobody pay attention.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
She'll kill you for that. She would.
Should I have said El Salvadorian?
No.
Housekeeping.
I can't afford an Indian one though.
Yeah. Well, you had that Somali one, but she kept ripping you off.
Yeah. You know.
Yeah.
I made that deal with the representative of the king in Nigeria.
Oh, yeah. How many
was a
iTunes
bad-
gift
that was a
cards do you
bad
need to go
deal.
get for him for that?
Hmm?
I said, how many iTunes gift cards did you need to get for
Oh man.
the king
Oh my god.
or the representative of the king?
It was ridiculous. I don't even want to
Yeah.
talk about it.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, here we go, folks. 250 already.
Yeah, time's really flying, huh?
Yeah, but I'm going to need about 350.
$250 a
All
show.
right.
That's what we get paid. $250 per show.
Bits of coin. That's it. Not dollars, bits of coin. Reach contract.
It's kind of like Bitcoin, but not quite.
It's bits of coin. Willie, ask Willie about bits of coin. If you got 5 hours, he'll tell you all about it. But don't send him any money. Whatever you do.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Not even the $9 and what is it, 96 cents or something like that.
Yeah.
Is he working for that guy in Nigeria?
Yeah,
Usually,
always.
but he doesn't realize it. You know. He goes through some liaison named Steve.
Oh, I see how it works. There you
Yeah.
go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yep.
Guy is clever, man.
Oh yeah. We're talking about Steve, not Willie. Yeah. Willie's just crafty. You know.
That's it. Cunning. Sly.
Yeah. Cunt is in there somewhere, yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to bail before the real talent shows up so I don't look stupid. Y'all have a good show. Don't trust anything you read, see, or hear. Stay off the internet. You know, April Fools. Yeah, all right. Bye,
Is
guys.
he working for
All
that
right,
guy in
you take care. I'll
Nigeria?
catch up with you. Yeah,
Usually,
always.
but he doesn't realize it. You know. He goes through some liaison named Steve.
Oh, I see how it works. There you
Yeah.
go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yep.
Guy is clever, man.
Oh yeah. We're talking about Steve, not Willie. Yeah. Willie's just crafty. You know.
That's it. Cunning. Sly.
Yeah. Cunt is in there somewhere, yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to bail before the real talent shows up so I don't look stupid. Y'all have a good show. Don't trust anything you read, see, or hear. Stay off the internet. You know, April Fools. All right. Bye, guys.
All right, you take
Take care,
care, and I'll
Hubble.
catch up with you later, David. Yeah. We got about 3 minutes before I take and switch us over to the next room.
Hey,
Y'all
we're
got
getting a
quiet
wider,
on me.
we're getting a wider shot of you tonight. Did you get a new camera? We're getting. I mean, I like this, dude. Now I want to see some LED lighting. You know, some colored lighting in the next show.
Hold on here.
Damn.
There.
It's not in the camera.
No, it's not in the camera.
I want it to look like your typical YouTube studio.
No, not happening.
I mean, you got the Spider-Man up on the wall. Come on, man. You could definitely, just a couple of LED lights. You're set and ready to roll.
No, not doing that. I have too many lights in this room anyways. Then I can't sleep.
Well, put a disco lamp in there,
No. Need more OnlyFans.
Oh, is that what you're doing? That's where you're making
You see the
money.
fan back here? Oh, no, you can't. Hold on.
The CEO died, though, man, of cancer.
There we go.
Of OnlyFans. You guys knew that, didn't you?
What's that?
The CEO of OnlyFans, he died of cancer.
Oh, well.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. Apparently, he'd been fighting it for a little while. It just so happened that he got it right about the time of the death jab. A little after that. Which doesn't surprise me, man. Not at all, dude. Every time I look into it and I see one of these people in the spotlight that were entertainers or, had a responsibility to so-called vaccinate and were coerced into it.
Oh, just want to let you know, when we talk about that, we always get a warning from YouTube.
And
I'm just letting you know.
Well, what do they do with the warning? What does that mean?
I got one strike already for that. Yeah.
Well, you're not going to last on YouTube. If you're broadcasting us, your other shows might be fine, but this show is not going to last.
Actually, they were focused on Nancy's show because she went into it medically. Yeah. Yeah, because Nancy has had doctors and stuff on, and talked about it.
Burn Scales has a new product for you, Mom.
Well, I mean,
and,
we have our.
But that's between here
YouTube
and there.
is fascist, man. YouTube is fascist. I hate YouTube. Yep. Everything about YouTube I hate at this point. I have no respect for YouTube. I mean, they're a little bit better than they were, but they're still fascist.
Yeah, I didn't know that until, I knew about what you're talking about. I didn't know about my strike until today.
Well, this is the second time you've put us up on YouTube because they already took us down.
No. We've been on here for
probably
about a year, maybe longer now.
Okay. Well,
we've been doing pretty good with it.
The secret to YouTube is you have to speak in code, and there's no possible way we could do that. If you listen to all the top influencers, their main platform is YouTube, even if they're on Rumble, but their main platform is YouTube.
Yep.
They will speak in code and they'll go, like they instead of killed themselves or suicided themselves, they would say they unlived themselves. They have to do these code words for every. Imagine living like that. That's ridiculous, dude. Screw them.
Or what? Forced love instead of rape.
What's it called?
Forced love.
That's probably, I would imagine that's a code word, a code phrase.
Yeah. Oh, they got a million of them. The coof, the jab.
I'm sure that
what? I've heard that one.
The bots pick that up now, a lot of them. So, But I get away with my music over there, but they can't really do anything about AI music. Even though they would love to collect revenue off that, I'm sure.
Do you do that on a separate channel, or do you just do it all? Do you just dump everything into one channel?
I do everything on the same platform. Platforms. I only take and change the title and the category.
Okay, so like if you put our show up, you would also put up like an 8-hour music thing on the same channel.
Yeah,
Okay.
I can't do it
That
any
doesn't get
other way
copyright
because I'm
struck?
not gonna, I have enough. I'm dealing with 15 platforms and stations. I don't. I deal enough with all that. I don't need to add more, just for special stuff. But anyways, I'm gonna get us rolling over on the other side. Hey, Brent.
Hey, so I sign out of this, right?
No, no.
Yeah, we're just switching rooms right
We're
now.
gonna switch rooms, and we'll get you back up, and we'll get going. All right.
Okay.
I see
sounds
switch
good.
rooms. We're just resetting the clock on this room. We'll
Right.
be back in this one. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Wait for the call. Show itself, with me doing a countdown, of course. There you go, John.
Okay.
Waiting for everybody to join.
There's Barry.
Hey, Brent. Welcome back.
Thank you. Good to be back. By the way,
Good to
I was
have you.
sick for a few days, and my voice I feel good, but I've got Lauren Bacall's voice. There's nothing I can do about it.
Yeah, you do sound a little congested a little bit.
Well, mostly it's like the amount of coughing I did really messed up my vocal cords. So I'm screaming right now as loud as I can. But it's all good, man. If your audience can take it and you can take it, I'm in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll try to mix up the talking schedule a little night so it doesn't all fall on you.
Well, of course, you know me. I'm never quite at a loss for words, but it doesn't mean the ones I find are any good. So
we love it when you're in here, Brent.
Oh man. So yeah, a few things going on in the world, right? We got wars, executive orders. We got court stuff. We got everything going on.
We got 30
is
seconds. And then
And a lot of fun articles. I've got most of the stuff I have up here because it's a little different tonight. It's just a lot of fun stuff. Like, I don't know if you saw the Tic Tac or Kit Kat.
Yes. Yeah.
Here's your countdown.
The trailer that got stolen.
Here's your countdown, guys. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And you were live for the very first time tonight, right now.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Censorship Sucks Roundtable Radio Show. Wednesday night edition for April 1st, 2026. That's right, folks. April Fool's Day today. I should have probably come out with something and made a big announcement of something that's clearly fictitious, but I don't need to. There's so much going on in the world tonight that, I could just pull one out of my hat here. Matt Gaetz was just talking the other day about how he had somebody in a military uniform come into his office when he was in the Senate and, explain to him that they're breeding aliens at different, locations around the world. And then somebody from Australia kicked in and said, yeah, you'd be surprised who's not all human. It goes on and on. With me tonight, of course, I've got Brent Hamanchak, first Wednesday of the month. How are you, Brent?
I couldn't be any better. And of course, we know Matt Gaetz is wrong because J.D. Vance just got done telling us that they aren't really aliens. They're more like spirit figures, perhaps demons. My having missed that as a student of both the Old and New Testament, but I'm sure it's in there somewhere. It is. We don't need April Fool's Day anymore. In fact, it should be April Serious Day, and the other 364 days are just Fool's Day. Right.
Exactly.
Right. We ought to just flip the math.
And with us tonight as well, we've got Bullhorn Barry coming in. How you doing, Barry?
I'm doing good, man. just listening to that intro and thinking, yeah, crazy times, weird times, stranger things in the upside down, as I like to call it.
Yeah, it's a wild, wild world, folks. It's a wild, wild world. I got to get this one out too. Kit Kat. They announced that somebody stole a truck full of Kit Kats, 417,000 of them, right? So Nestle put out the statement. We can confirm that 12 tons of Kit Kat products were stolen in transit between Italy and Poland, yada, yada, yada. Then in reply, Denny's, the restaurant, official statement from Denny's. We would like to make one thing clear. Whatever happened to those Kit Kats happened between 1:30 a.m. and 4 a.m., and we were very busy. No further questions. So Denny's jumped in. Domino's Pizza came out and said, official statement, we would like to share our thoughts and condolences for Kit Kat following the recent sad news. On a completely unrelated note, we're pleased to announce that we'll now be making Kit Kat pizzas. We've got McDonald's coming out with another one where they're launching a Kit Kat flurry or float or something. Hey guys, DoorDash here. Due to a completely random packaging error, we have 12 tons of Kit Kats in our Dash Marts that we can sell. The good news, all you have to do is go to your DoorDash app and add like 500, 600 Kit Kats to your cart, and this should be resolved itself quickly.
This is look. The only thing they're missing in all that is that the White House released a post on True Social that said, my understanding is that 12,000 plus Kit Kat bars died. Good. I'm glad they're dead. Right. So they missed that one. But my goodness, the world.
I don't think they missed it. I don't think they missed it. It was a PR bonanza. They're probably going to sell more. Whoever got Kit Kat in their Easter egg. Nobody gets Kit Kats in your Easter egg, but now they will.
Yeah. Excellent.
I bet you they have the best Easter sales of all time at Kit Kat. Nestle.
I want to do a proper introduction. John Ottman is with us as well tonight, folks. He's the chairman of the board for Minds.com, which is all of our very favorite social media platform of all time. I'm pretty much exclusive to Minds.com. And if you want to check out the content and the stories that I'll be talking about each week, you can always go to my site over on Minds, which is minds.com/censorship sucks. And I put all my articles that we're going to talk about on the show up there every week, so you can read along with me. You can source them, fact check them, all that good stuff. But John, what a pleasure to have you back on the show. And what an honor it is to introduce you to Brent Hamachek, the one and only.
The famous. Hi, Brent. How are you?
I couldn't be any better, John. It's nice to meet you virtually here on the air live. So we got to be careful about, we can't go on for 10 minutes introducing ourselves to each other because there's actually an audience. But it's nice. This introduction has been being threatened for a very long time. So I'm glad it's taken place.
Well, no, really appreciate it, and thank you very much. Censorship Sucks for that nice introduction.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I remember talking with John a while back because somebody pretending to be Jack Posobiec was on Minds and chatting up a bunch of people posting like crazy. And so I said, hey, man, Jack, it's nice to meet you. We've got a mutual friend, Brett. And he was like, who? Never heard. I don't know who you're talking about.
It's hilarious.
I'm like, you don't know who Brent is.
Well, and Jack and I will be rejoined together here inside of the Just the Network platform. And of course, he's already there. Quick note to your audience, there's stuff they may have read about, or they probably read about it, but they wouldn't have necessarily connected dots. And that is a couple of weeks ago, the gentleman I've worked with for 7 years, just over 7 years, in the media world and outside of it, wrote his book, the whole bit. Jeff Webb, the man who literally invented the sport of cheerleading, died from a head injury, sustained playing pickleball. And, and it sounds like, when you say it that way, just the name of the game, pickleball, makes it sound like it's parody itself. I mean, I don't know how people take something seriously named pickleball, but in any case, it's obviously damn serious because we have the first known fatality from an injury in the United States Pickleball Association history. And so Jeff's untimely passing from that injury disrupted some of the plans that had been made between his sale of his platforms into the Just the Network platform, which we've talked about on your show. But I'm telling you and your audience that the relationship overall is alive and well. There'll be some fun things for me to talk about when I'm on your show next month. But certainly, all of the headlines that you see everywhere on every news platform say Charlie Kirk mentor dies in freak pickleball accident. And,
yeah, I saw that.
And
It
that
scared
is
the crap out of me for a second when I saw that headline, Brent.
Oh, you thought it was me? No, and so my final thought on that to your audience is that it is a shame. Jeff was, by the way, a mentor to Charlie. He's actually the one. If you go to AmFest, Jeff's the one that taught Charlie and the team at Turning Point how to do those events. So he was a mentor to Charlie, but that is not how he should be remembered. He's the guy who took something that was a cute sideline activity for young gals, across America, from the Dawn Man up into the 1970s, and turned it into something that is now an Olympic-approved sport. And that is an extraordinary legacy. And he started Varsity Brands out of his apartment in Oklahoma and at the back of his car. And he built it into a $3 billion worldwide global monster. So these are the things for which he should really be remembered. He had a great love for the American middle class. It's why he wanted to get involved in what I call the world of ideas years ago. And it was a treat for me to be involved with him throughout that entire journey, throughout many iterations of it along the way. And so that's the end of my speech. John, I can see on the screen you're still awake. I appreciate that. I don't know about the audience, but end of sermon.
I didn't. That's a terrible story. I
Well, I want to hand the ball to Barry because he's allegedly the pickleball king of Tulsa, Oklahoma. So, Barry, have you ever met him on the court?
No, but I mean, really all I can say about pickleball is you have to play it. It's just one of those things that's just, it's so fun. You can get a serious workout from it, and you will work muscles that you've never worked before if you're competitive about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I'm competitive. Yeah, very competitive.
And John, you and Barry have never really met before, if I recall. I don't think you've ever
I don't
spoken.
think face to face, but I certainly know who you are, Bullhorn Barry.
Freedom Fighter Victor is his mind handle. Yeah.
And I know John as well.
How you doing, dude?
He's an incredible guy. He was. How many people that are top dogs at a social media will comment on your post on occasion or say something nice to you? And John has done that many times before. So thank you, John.
You guys are the greatest. I would always love to be on this podcast. So thank you for inviting me. And great to see you again, Bullhorn Barry.
Excellent. Well, I wanted to kind of dive into this. First of all, let's get into some news that is going on in the world. A big one is about to happen here in about 12 minutes, I think. Artemis 2 is about to launch and go around the moon. The first time we've sent human beings to the dark side of the moon since what, like the 70s?
Yeah, it's been over 50 years, I believe.
Yeah, so big deal. That's kind of cool. And that's happening like any minute now. So
I heard they might.
I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
I heard there were some technical delays. I'm not sure if they worked that out.
Oh, yeah?
But they were worried about something wasn't working right.
It seems impossible to imagine that a space launch could be delayed. I've never heard of such a thing. It actually seems like a delay of a space launch is not a delay. It's part of the space launch. Certainly hope that the mission's successful. They're all safe. Yet another indication of man's, undying need, desire, and drive to just keep, exploring and driving to new frontiers. So, part of the human spirit. I'm not going to be alive long enough to see Elon's colony settlement on Mars. I wish him well. I think he'll be able to afford it with SpaceX's now reported public offering coming out. Sounds like the world's richest man's about to get richer.
Yeah, big time. Like,
Yeah,
by leaps and
I was
bounds.
watching the NASA administrator was interviewed today, and he was predicting that they'll find microbial life on Mars when we do visit.
Wouldn't
Penny
surprise me.
Johnson had a good interview with him today. So I think that would be interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting to
Now,
see
John,
what they find on the other side of the moon too.
John, you're really active in the AI area. And I wanted to ask you about these humanoid robots, because, man, some of the things I've been reading about them lately is that, like, there could be a billion of them by the year 2030. And it could just change life completely for every single man, woman, child living in existence on this planet by that point. Really making it so pretty much everybody would have a humanoid robot walking around mowing their lawn and doing everything for them. Is that a realistic goal? I mean, is that going to happen?
That's probably a little faster than I would think. I mean, that's a billion, a lot, but but yeah, it's coming hard and it's coming fast and it's real, and people don't see it coming. And already you're seeing the first place to get impact is the high tech industry where I spend my day job, and there's just massive layoffs happening everywhere. Oracle just laid off my old company, just laid off 30,000 people this week, and it's all because of AI, or at least they're saying that. Maybe it's a convenient excuse to trim overhead anyway. But I think the first place to get really hit is going to be the high tech, and the first skill that you're going to see changed really dramatically is that of a software engineer. I mean, coding is just it's not something people have to really do anymore. And everybody used to look at coding as such a barrier, all of us, and such a difficult skill to manage. But now really that's not the case anymore. Anyone can code now.
Mm-hmm. And it's
wait till that
reliable.
spreads across to robots, cutting your grass. I mean, cutting your grass is pretty easy compared to, writing code.
Mm-hmm. Brent, where do you see that? Do you think you're going to have a robot washing your dishes and writing your code here in the next few years?
Well, if they're washing my dishes, then they're going to put me out of work. But it being one of the many functions here that I fill domestically, along with actually making the dishes dirty by doing the cooking. But I digress. We'll come to my homework allocation later. Look, I make the argument on a regular basis, and I really believe this, that given the fact that we haven't found a cure for mortality, that if you're my age, 63, and you were born in the United States in 1962, I have lived through the very best moment and place in all of human history. And it's about to get worse, and I am going to be at the tail end of that. So I understand the AI thing's coming. I understand it can't be stopped. I understand all of that. I don't have a naive bone in my body about it. I also know you can't stop human nature. And humans don't do well with idle time. And they also don't do well with displacement. And I think that what we're about to see is humanity come upon a crisis of machines being able to do virtually everything, humans having very little to do. The idea that humans are going to find something productive to do if the very use of the technology is to produce is silly. They're going to have to find other things to do. And my biggest fear is this, and it's a complicated one, but I'll try to be simple about it. We will completely disconnect the pricing mechanism and the wage mechanism from market forces. Right now, labor costs, the price of what you buy, how supply chains work, all of it's driven by the pricing mechanism in the market. But if you take humans out of that process, humans having to do things, your ability to set wages, to have the market do it spontaneously, like Adam Smith talked about, and he was right, is going to be disrupted in a way we can't imagine. And Elon Musk's idea of this sort of stable universal income thing, it won't work. It can't work. Human nature won't allow it. If we were all wonderful, good, blessed souls who all love one another inherently, it would work great. We're not. It'll be a disaster. And I'm really glad I was born in 1962. Other than that, I don't feel strongly about it.
Before the flood.
Yes, that's right.
No, it's a real that's a great perspective, because right now, like what's happening inside companies is they're starting to build there's this thing called OpenClaw, which was this thing that went viral about a month ago, and it's really ability to build your own agents, and you can have a whole team of agents and a coordinator agent to coordinate all of the other agents, and they work all night long, and then they report to you when you wake up in the morning, when you check your email, and it's imagine 4 or 5 agents that are just doing stuff for you like all day long. You could probably control that and manage that. But if you look inside an enterprise, like a big company, imagine like thousands of them. And they're doing, they're talking back and forth, and they're saying, should we say yes to this customer? Should we say no to this customer? The important decisions happening all over the place. And what we find is that the more agents are integrating with each other, and they're talking back and forth with each other, and the humans aren't even around. It's when the chaos really gets extreme. And I think, if you talk about 1 billion robots, they will be interacting with each other as much as they'll be interacting with us. In fact, they'll be interacting with each other and won't even tell you. So it's going to be very difficult to orchestrate success with something like that.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's wild. Barry, what do you think of all this?
I think what John and, of course, what Brent was saying is true. Definitely tech is being hit first. I saw where Amazon had announced 16,000 jobs were going to be replaced with AI. And it's not the robot type either, like in the warehouse. It's mostly middle management and customer service. Of course, we know. I mean, a lot of times we're talking to customer service, and it's not even a person anymore. It got it down so good that it's got breath, it's got size, pauses. You're not going to know unless, you're privy to it. And so it's a brave new world, I guess. And I think the only thing that's going to stop it from going completely bad is if we resist all of the dehumanizing aspects of it and just push for AI to be something that helps and aids and is for the betterment of humanity. But the corporations, man, if they create monopolies, they're in it for money. It's not going to make everybody wealthy. They're going to make themselves ultra wealthy. That's what's going to happen. So we've got to make AI more than just a monopoly. We've got to, allow it to have a competition. Let the free market kind of have its way. If not, we're in trouble.
Yeah, I saw one of the YouTube channels out there focuses on AI, and he had some sort of unlocked versions of different models and would ask them point blank, what is the future of AI? And that's pretty much exactly what he said. Like, it'll be kind of bad for the average person, but incredibly good for the very wealthy, the people that can afford to, again, when we talk about these humanoid robots, I think Elon Musk, his first 2 years of production are only for his own company, right? And so he's going to make the first, 100,000 of these things are just going to be for his company to make the next million of them or the next 5 million of them. So then those 5 million can go on and make the next 100 million of them. It's going to be an interesting process to see happen. And I don't know, I just, John, do you think there's a way to safeguard against that?
Well, I was just going to say, you guys are the perfect guys to understand this. It's going to be round 2 of what we just are concluding on social media. I mean, social media is kind of, been through this, and it's going to be like that, except times 1,000. I mean, the privacy concerns about AI are so much more significant than even social media was. Not to mention free speech and biases and all of the things that drove the creation of minds and the community of people looking for free speech and truth. The truth generation. Those issues are going to become 100 times more important. And we saw how important it was over the last several years with social media. So, I mean, I think we haven't seen anything yet in that regard.
Brent, we got about 1 minute and 10 seconds left before we got to go to break. What would you like to add?
A final gloomy thought. Well, the one thing I'll say that some people could say, look, we've been through displacements in the world of labor before. New technology has created displacements in labor. That's absolutely true. You can look at all sorts of industries. Farming's a great one to look at, just the history of the United States. What a farming nation we were when we began. Now what a small percentage of the population is a farmer, right? And the world didn't collapse, right? Because there was expansion elsewhere. And there will always be expansion elsewhere. The difference here, the part that we have to contemplate, is the expansion elsewhere will likely be filled by the very non-human entities that are creating the displacement elsewhere. And so, in other words, for that farmer who didn't need to farm anymore, but who ultimately over generations became something else, for these folks being displaced by AI, there may not be an opportunity to become anything else because those becomings will be taken by artificial intelligence. That's the fear.
Wow. I love handing you like 1 minute and 10 seconds because you're used to television where you got to get your point across in 1 minute and 10 seconds and you nail it to the second every time, Brent. Folks, this is a Censorship Sucks Roundtable radio show. We're going to go to break right now, but stay tuned. We'll be back with much, much more right after these messages.
All right, we're on radio break.
All right. Excellent.
John, it's a real pleasure to have a chance to share a screen with you. I would love it if you were willing, when this show is over, sometime soon, for you and I to be able to just have a conversation about what both of us do and see if there's opportunities for collaboration or shared interests. I'm mixed up in a lot of different things. I know you are, and would just love to have that chance to connect if it was something you were interested and willing to do.
No, absolutely, Brent. That I've followed the Human Events story, and Jack and Libby, and I feel like it's our peeps, So I would love to do that. That would be great. I'm not 100% head of my head into mines as much as the rest of my life, but Bill and Jack, my sons, mostly, they pretty much handle 99.9% of what goes on in mines. But yeah, I would love to have that conversation. That'd be fun.
Yeah, well, the guys here know all about. They've been along for the ride, but we have a program called Common Ground Campus, where we work with young people, and really everything we do is built around. One of the lines I use is that we're working with young people to teach them how to think critically, engage constructively, and solve problems rather than argue about differences. But my partner who created the whole thing, she's really got a better, simpler way of saying it. She says we're just trying to make conversations cool again. And so our work with young people has been going on for 5 years. And I think, when I look at Minds and, your whole free speech thing and trying to promote a conversation online, I think we share some common values and goals, and it would be fun to talk about how we might be able to collaborate on those.
Oh, you bet. I mean, that's my favorite subject. I mean, we've tried so hard to bridge the divide. I mean, that we've had huge meetings on it, and trying to figure out, like, how do you get dialogue to function properly in America? I mean,
we have the answers, or at least some of them. One of our silos, one of our programs at Common Ground is called Bridging the Divide.
Oh, well, that's our business strategy.
Yeah, so you can see why I think it might be fun for us to chat offline, and see how we might be able to find some ways to work together.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I can make it pretty easy. It's john@minds.com.
There you go.
I mean,
and it's brent@humanevents.com.
Okay.
Yeah, except I'm going to use a different email for one reason. The Human Events one will be going away, and it's really just the network. But give me John's again, because I'm going to send him a connecting email.
john@minds.com. MINDS.
All right, just sent you an email, John, from my Common Ground campus email. There's nothing in it. Just says connecting. But if you get that and you hit reply back, we can use that to figure out when we might be able to chat, which I'd very much enjoy. Be a privilege for me.
Absolutely. I'll look forward to it.
And speaking of, before we get back in here, Barry, I promised you the mic for the next half-hour segment, so you can take the lead here if you're comfortable doing so.
Sure.
Okay.
All right.
The freedom fighter Victor, and you know who's your biggest fan on mine?
30
Peggy,
seconds.
my wife.
Is who?
Peggy, my wife.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah,
She is awesome, man. I love her to death, man.
All right, I'm waiting for a countdown here.
All right, look out, cats, dogs, and kids, curtain climbers, and crumb beggars. Here's your countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And you're back live and on the radio side right now.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Censorship Sucks Roundtable Radio Show, Wednesday night edition for April 1st, 2026. Bullhorn Barry, I wanted to give you an opportunity because you haven't had a lot of time to talk one-on-one with Brent, and you've just met John Ottman for the first time tonight. So let me give you the mic for a little while, and go ahead and ask him any questions you'd like, and just have fun.
Yeah, sure. I think the thing that's on my mind, and probably a lot of people's minds, is minds.com, is what's at stake. And I think everybody knows kind of what's at stake, and that we're, kind of at a crossroads right now. But let's look at like best scenario and worst case scenario. So like best case scenario, freedom sort of advances, humanity, and honestly, the whole AI thing out since we already talked about that. So what is the best case scenario? I mean, because right now everybody's pretty much doom and gloom, and that Trump is a disappointment. Trump can't do anything right. It's over. The Democrats, the radical far left is going to take over. The globalists are going to take over. So there's sort of this doom and gloom mentality. But how would you describe a best case scenario, Brent?
Oh, gosh, you make me go first. I was waiting to see what John said, and then I was going to say what he said. But the pressure's on me. So, look, best case scenario in my mind, and this relates to things we've talked about on this show over the last many months. I think the best case scenario is that enough of the American people come around, and it won't be a significant, some great majority, but enough of the American people come around to take a look at some of the things that Donald Trump has done that they think seem to be good ideas. Enough of them do that they're willing to vote, to elect people, to try to continue those things, even while they are totally rejecting the man at the helm at the moment. Because I think a best case scenario that says people will just come to love and embrace Trump is not a best case scenario. It's totally implausible. That's not going to happen. He's not governing as a man trying to bring people together. In fact, with each day, it seems he actually is almost deliberately trying to do the opposite for reasons that might make sense to him. But there's a lot of stuff that he's been trying to do that seems to be pretty good. And so will enough American people hang on to be able to say, okay, don't care for the way maybe it was done and what was being said, but I kind of get the idea and I kind of like it. So I'm going to vote for another human being to try to keep it going. And that's as best case scenario in this moment as I think we can come up with a final reminder to people we've talked about on your show many times. In this past election in 2024, Trump did not even get a majority of the vote. And his electoral college victory was pedestrian. So there was not some monumental swing in American politics. There just plain wasn't. So the question is, can it be sustained at all? Best case scenario is enough folks hang on to give it a try. That's me. John, you're up. So you ought to be able to do way better than that.
Let me put a little bookend on it first, because I know that you said many times, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but that this is a long-term thing, like America being restored, reset, sort of having constitutional rule of law, put back into place, freedom back into place, this thing of endless wars ending, and just all the things that we would like to see happen. You've said that this would be a long-term thing, and just in a quick response, is that true, and do you still feel that way?
Yes, it has to be a long game. Because we've created a society where so many people are so dependent in some shape, manner, or form on some level of government assistance, relief, subsidy, and so on, that in order to change that sort of system, and in order to restore us back to one that's more individual liberty and personal responsibility based, it means that people have to go to the polls year after year after year for over a generation and repeatedly vote against their own immediate self-interest. They have to be willing to do that, and they have to be willing to do it not in one election or two, but in 20 and in a row and in mass. And so it's definitely a long game, and it's hard to stop inertia. Just ask any rock that's ever rolled down a hill.
Excellent. John, is it possible that we can win this fight, or is it inevitable that the globalists who control much of the world, and pretty much, in my opinion, the Democrat Party now, at least the ones that are in power, can we prevent them from sort of, becoming the captains of the helm, or is there a chance, and what does that path look like to you?
I think it's looking darker and darker, to be honest with you. What's going on in Europe is absolutely shocking to me. Someone I've traveled extensively through Europe. I have so many friends and contacts and business relationships over there. The UK is now the largest, has more people in prison for free speech violations than practically all other countries combined. Can you imagine? What's going on? It's literally a complete upheaval of the system happening in Europe, and we're here in the United States, kind of in a bubble, because the Trump bubble, El Trumpo, has, as Brent was saying, he's moved the ball down the field significantly just by closing the border. He's done a lot of things that the opposite is happening in Europe. Spain just gave 500,000 immigrants citizenship like a month ago. They just announced 500,000 immediate citizenships to these guys who just showed up, came over from Africa. And now I think this might be true with France as well, and I think it's true to some extent with the UK. But Spain won't even let U.S. Planes fly to the Middle Eastern conflict through their airspace, stuff like that. So you're seeing a complete collapse of the Western Europe order. NATO's probably teetering. So here in the United States, we're kind of in a bubble. We don't really, we're kind of thinking, well, it's not so bad. We've got, some good stuff happening. But if you look at it across globally, it's a tough picture, and Trump could be perhaps the only thing in the way of it happening here too. You see it happening in Canada, and so I think it's a really, really big threat. And I think to have the absolute best possible outcome, we have to have really fair elections and really good election integrity, and that's just essential. I think we can all believe in the American people, but it's pretty obvious that there's so many problems with the voting system right now. I don't want to get into the big lie type of conspiracy thing, but I mean, if you're online at all, you've probably seen 10,000 videos of evidence of voter integrity problems across all kinds of places and states everywhere. So I think the SAVE Act is a really big deal. Let's see what happens there. But if there can't be honest elections, I'd say we're toast. I think we're toast.
Now, didn't Trump just sign an executive order concerning elections? But then again, it's an executive order. How much, power does that really have? And will it really make a difference? And, obviously, the SAVE Act is a better option. But if you know anything about that, you can comment on that, either one of you guys.
It's an executive order, just waiting to be shot down by someone who doesn't want to follow it, I would think. But
I mean, that executive order that Trump signed, I set yesterday the over under at 10 business days before it stayed. I'll go even further. Not only will it be held to be unconstitutional, when it gets to the Supreme Court, they won't hear the case. They won't grant cert to it. They'll let a lower court ruling stand. They won't even deal with this. The Constitution's tragically clear about these things. And Trump does have the right to ask, to have the Attorney General demand of states to see their voter rolls. He does have that right. But he does not have the right to tell the United States Postal Service to not deliver the ballots. He can't do that, right? So it's not going to work. Right. It's a showboat move. And, one of the problems about doing things symbolically is that, and it gets into this sort of notion of almost martyrdom too. If a martyr dies in the forest and nobody's around to see him, does it really matter? You can martyr things and do things symbolically that just die, but it doesn't mean they're going to have any sticking or staying power. So this executive order he signed, that I think any reasonable person knows is not going to stand or have an effect. Say, well, he does it symbolically. Who's it a symbol to? Well, his base might like it. They might support it and say it's a great idea. But going back to what I said before about needing people to go along and say, okay, I'm still going to give this a try. When yet another executive order that seems to be kind of silly gets stayed and tossed, I don't think that does much to help win the long-term argument that things are being done prudently and we ought to stay the course. So I'd have preferred to have seen him not do it. None of my business, I guess, but nobody asked me. But I just think that it was an unnecessary act of vanity.
Yeah, I actually agree. I didn't give too much thought to it, to be quite honest with you, because we've seen a lot of executive orders completely ignored by the left anyway. So, John, you were talking a little bit about doom and gloom, and I was thinking, Australia had parts that turned completely red, and now I heard that Libya turned completely red. The sky did. There's sort of this apocalyptic thing happening. I'm not sure exactly if it's all in tune together. But of course, we're seeing some meteors and different things flying around that's not necessarily typical, kind of happening all at once. Just strange happening, strange things, sort of adding to the apocalyptic nature of things. So let's talk a little bit about a worst case scenario. And you were also talking, John, a little bit about, all these different places are having all these horrible things happen, the UK and Australia and Spain and different places. Well, I said once Trump came into presidency, I said, you can count that the globalists are going to use a foothold strategy, which basically just means that wherever they can get a foothold, they're going to. With their agenda, their great reset, call it what you want, the liberal world order, formerly known as the New World Order, call it what you want, but we all know what it entails. It's a prison planet, a panopticon prison planet, using AI as a way to basically enslave people. So let's kind of dive in to a worst case scenario, but let's throw some hope in as well, if we can, in a worst case scenario, because I tend to think that as things fall apart, if they do go that route, that there will be pockets of freedom. And I think that will be the same thing with AI, that there will be pockets of resistance where we're going to say we're not going to play a part in this dehumanization agenda if it goes that way. And we're going to have, more simplistic type life, sort of like, I don't know, people still listening to albums, right? It's a thing of the past, but people still like it. They still prefer albums over CDs or the cloud. So, John, give me your worst case scenario.
Well, I mean, as I was saying before, we saw what Google did to free speech. I mean, Minds is so censored today, is just ridiculous, and that is going to go to the next level with AI. Now. Not AI is not like one AI. It's not like some monolithic AI. There's a whole lot of different AIs. And what's kind of interesting is what makes them really different is your data. Like what really defines AI is they're all pretty much similar deep learning systems and software systems. But what makes them separate and distinct is the data that you train them on. And once they start training on everybody's personal data, that's when it's going to get particularly dangerous. And that's probably already started at some level, in sort of Intel world, IT. But I don't think it's really hit the consumer yet. I saw Elon Musk announced, I think it was today or yesterday, a Tesla AI phone. It's really more of an AI phone than a general phone, but it's also a phone. It's hooked to Starlink, so of course, that's an amazing platform. Imagine that. He has complete vertical integration. He's got a space port. He's got internet bandwidth coming down from space. Now he's got, ground stations, and now these receivers are little phones. And in the phone, he's got the AI system, and presumably that AI starts getting trained on your personal data. Now, what Elon Musk decides to do with your personal data versus what Google would decide, or others, and what might they do with your personal data? It's very dangerous, and there's really no way to tell what's going to happen. To be honest with you, there's going to be sort of white hat AIs and black hat AIs, and I think what we can do is we can favor architectures for AI that make it more difficult on society for AI to take over. Like decentralization is a really good one. The more centralized the thing gets, the worse it gets. The more decentralized it gets, the better it gets. So I think there's going to be choices, and probably, the billion robots, some of them will be using one AI and some will be using the other AI. So you'll have like white hat and black hat robots. So I do think that is going to happen, actually.
Yeah.
What are some of the?
Go ahead.
Really quick, if I could, what are some of the good models out there right now, and what are the ones that should be avoided?
I think they're all pretty good right now, to be honest with you. I don't think they've gone on. I don't think they've dialed this stuff up yet. They're still in the adoption phase of getting people used to going to a ChatGPT app and getting people comfortable with talking to a new friend who they probably trust more than their other friends, and build that trust. And I think for a little while there's a hiatus here where it's not too bad. I don't think the biases. I haven't seen things that are like really egregious yet. But then it hasn't. I don't think it's really started yet.
Right.
And I think and there's no laws. There's no governance frameworks that governments have put in really to contain it. Everybody's kind of waiting to see what's going to happen. So I think it's a wait and see thing right now, but it's a for sure collision.
I don't want to say too much because I know my time is limited, so I want to let Brent chime in as well. Worst case scenario, things go bad and sort of the globalists kind of start controlling things. I would say that would happen if the Democrats sort of take over in a very monolithic and powerful way. What should we expect to see if that happens? And is there any way to resist at this point? I mean, if they take back control, is it completely over in your point of view, or is hope still possibly over the horizon?
Well, first of all, I love being asked a question about how bad could things get. I am, after all, the Prince of Darkness at some level, so it's my area of expertise. And then could things still reverse back again? Well, look, as I'm fond of saying, the United States as a piece of real estate isn't going anywhere. The question is, what's it going to be zoned for as its highest and best use? Our founding fathers tried 250 years ago to zone it for individual liberty, right? And they tried to zone it so that it would accentuate in its structures the ideas of John Locke, and it would control the weaknesses identified by Thomas Hobbes about our nature, right? So they did our best, but the beast is loose. All right, so what's a worst case scenario? Have some fun with this for a moment. Worst case scenario, as somebody who's in recovery, I can tell you all about the problems of relapsing. So the worst case scenario is that number of voters needed to sort of try to at least continue some of the things Trump's trying to do. By the way, Trump, not a free speech guy, certainly has held free speech on the team right side. There's no question about that. All we got to do is look at his public statements and threats he's made against other speech, threatening to pull licenses and other things. So free speech is good so long as he likes it, right? But let's say that voters react and toss out this very narrow, thin Republican majority, and let's say they do it very decisively in 2028. What do we get then? Well, a relapse is usually worse than what brought you into recovery in the first place. And so I suspect what you would see inside this country is an immediate attempt to double down on those things lost. You could see us rejoining immediately the Paris Climate Accords. You can see us rejoining immediately the World Health Organization. You could see us incredibly aggressively, enthusiastically supporting the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank. You could see us from that globalist perspective jumping back in aggressively to try to correct the perceived mistakes of the Trump administration. Immigration stuff is interesting. So you won't see suddenly the borders reopening because we've closed them, and people, there's no way to open them again, right? The American people won't stand for that. But you will see a incredibly bad clash internally over the illegals still here. What are we going to do? We'll probably do nothing. Meanwhile, while all this is happening, you're going to have this AI piece taking jobs. And that is going to create, at least in the short term, a culture of even more dependency. People don't do well with idle time and dependency. Rich will get richer. We know this. Everyone's saying that now. Every single prognosticator is admitting at least in the short run, AI makes the rich much richer. And then amidst all that unrest and with all that idle time, you will have a large number of people walking around all day, not talking about solutions, not working on ideas, but they will be talking to their new artificial friend on their phone who will give them all sorts of empathy, sympathy, try to boost their self-esteem, and maybe otherwise suggest that they end their lives if that doesn't go well. This is the dark scenario we look at. None of what I said necessarily will happen. Spirit, are these the things that will happen or that might happen? We'll turn to Dickens, written by a human, not AI. I have no way of knowing, but that's a pretty dark scenario I painted. I don't think any of it's crazy. I think all of it's tragic, and it's all potential.
Yeah, you pointed out. I would say that one of the most important things, of course, is what you were saying. People awakening to this possible nightmare scenario, and then as a result, having some kind of a unified front, a unification, despite sort of this fractured and fragmented, Republican Party, MAGA, call it whatever you want. I don't know. Is that possible? I mean, how do we get that going? How do we tell people how important it is that we unify and that we become engaged?
Starts with awareness, right? I mean, it starts with people paying attention. And, I think communities like this one, and at human events, I mean, these are people that pay attention. But to be honest with you, most Americans don't pay as much attention. And that's really got to change. And people have to get involved and take an opinion and express it. And I think people have not done that.
I am so surprised when I run across somebody who actually has no clue about anything. And I run across them all the time. And I mean, we give them names, normies, zombies, whatever you want to call them. And it's sad. I'm not trying to be demeaning, but it's just true. There's a lot of people that just have absolutely no clue what's going on. I mean, they know things are a little off, a little messed up, but they have no clue that possibly everything is at stake and that we're at a serious crossroads. And so you're right, it has to be an awareness, but then we have to somehow come together when we're so divisive right now. And maybe we can, because Brent does a great job trying to bring some that are, in the Democrat Party that way. There'll be some that join us. I don't see a lot of them joining us, but independents for sure.
Take us out,
right?
Barry.
Absolutely. Anyway, I'm going to have to take us out. And we'll be back after this break.
All right, there you go. We're on radio break right now.
Yeah,
you got to watch your time.
I figured CS could step in, but we didn't talk about it, so I apologize for that.
All good. John, I was much darker than you were.
I was going to say, we're going to get to some happy stuff, aren't we?
I hope we get to happy stuff
like
soon.
Well, we gave both sides. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't just all doom and gloom. And I'm against the doom and gloom. I talk about it all the time. I think being black-pilled is incredibly dangerous. It's exactly how you lose sight. It's how you lose track. It's how you go backwards. And you can't just see everything as evil like the black pill do. They don't see any good at all, period. It's all doom and gloom.
You got to visualize success, though. We should talk about the other side of the equation. What could go really well? It could.
Well, I sure hope so. I sure hope so. But, it can't stay in limbo forever. You know what I'm saying? Because that's kind of where we're at. There's no real one idea that has the predominant force right now. Nobody has the conch, so to speak, right? So
it's interesting because they say that the Save America Act has like 88% approval or something, yet it seems like no one actually believes that, or that isn't really happening, because it seems like then why shouldn't that just automatically happen? A no-brainer. So there's something else going on.
Real quick, Brent, when did you send that book out?
Oh gosh, right after, I think on the Friday after our last show.
Oh my God!
You don't
'cause
have
I
it?
still have. I still don't have it.
Oh my gosh, I'll send you another one. I sent it, they do that book rate thing at the post office, which I don't really care about. But when they said, "What's in the envelope?" I said, "A book." They said, "Oh, well, there's, a special rate for that." I'm like, okay, whatever. Maybe it's going to get delivered in a decade, but I'm going to make myself a note tomorrow.
Well,
I'm actually going to put it in my calendar to send you another one tomorrow. I mean, I got a bunch of them. I'm sorry about that.
no problem.
So,
I thought maybe something happened in the mail. That's all.
yeah, it was a
I know
Friday
we're
after
good.
our last show.
Yeah.
If
And
you're
if I
sending
get-
out books,
and-
I almost want to.
If I get 2
Oops, sorry, go
copies,
ahead.
I'm going to give one to the school that my kids go to.
Well,
Okay.
I'll just send you 2 copies.
Okay.
Did you did you write a book, Brett? Did you book?
Yeah, I was going to say,
Yeah.
John, you need to get your hands on it.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd love to.
Dissidently speaking. Right?
It's
Let's-
yeah. I've written I've
Let's
actually
talk about
John,
it. In the,
written a bunch
Yeah,
of
yeah.
books, but the one that they're referring to is the one that I wrote just under my own name that came out 2 years ago, called Dissidently Speaking, Change the Words, Change the War. It's really a book of ideas. It's a skeptic's guide to some contemporary issues and American problems, all designed for the purpose of trying to get people to flip 2 words in the English language, and that is to stop saying "it is" all the time and instead ask "is it?" And I always say, related to that, it's stop saying "they are" and start asking "are they?" And finally get yourself a really good mirror and look at it and stop saying "I am," but ask "am I?"
All right. That concludes the first part of the show. I will get everybody up on the next part for hour 2 of Censorship Sucks. Sorry I didn't catch that earlier. I've been trying to catch up conversations all around. There you
Okay,
go, John.
cool. John's
Sorry
here.
we got cut off, guys.
Well, so anyway, last thought on that, John, is that my only regret about the book, which has been very well received by people who have read it, humbled by the reviews and things, but it ought to have my partner's name on it as well. I mean, she designed the cover of it and the name of it and did the illustrations in it. But frankly, our work together on Common Ground Campus inspired much of the content. And while I give her a lot of credit inside the book, I should have had her name on it. But other than that, I'm pleased with the work. Just disappointed about that mistake.
Bluetooth connected.
I got to play this clip for you here. This was Donald Trump about 2 days before Brent's book came out, An American Dissident. Ready?
This is funny.
Hilarious.
Yeah, we know you did that.
1 second, it's just loading. Oh, come on, you can load faster than that. Yeah, I am an American dissident, is what he said. I'm an American dissident.
And in many ways,
Sorry about that. The second it loaded, I reloaded it.
and in many ways, we're living in hell right now. Because the fact
Sorry. My internet is not playing nice right now.
Are you
is
connected
Joe
to
Biden
Starlink?
is a threat to
No.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's not gonna work.
democracy. He really is a threat to democracy. I stand before you today not only as your past and hopefully future president, but as a proud political dissident. I am a dissident.
Literally 2 days before his book came out, he said, I am a dissident.
Yeah, well, there's a fun real story behind that. The dissident piece, and some in your audience have heard this, but for fun, just to recap it since you bring it up and John's here. In January of 2021, immediately after the January 6th event, I had a sense of what was about to happen. And the reason I had a sense of what was about to happen is that, as William Randolph Hearst once said, you give me pictures, I'll give you a war. And I knew that the images coming out of January 6th were going to give the authoritarian element in this country an opportunity to turn to regular Americans and say, see how dangerous these people are. We're going to have to take some very drastic steps now to protect you from them. And that's exactly what they did. And so I sat at my kitchen table and I penned out a 8,000-word essay on titled Understanding and Embracing the Role of a 21st Century American Dissident. And I described what was about to happen, and I suggested tactics we need to employ to fight back. What was interesting is at the time I did not write anything under my own name, but I did write for Charlie Kirk. And so I offered the piece to Charlie, and he read it, and he said, "Look, I love it, but keep it. It's yours. Publish it yourself." So I did. I published it on my own website, and it went viral internationally. I had people reaching out to me from Australia, Vancouver, Canada, the United Kingdom, all over the place about it. And then what happened very shortly thereafter is that Charlie took that theme, and if you go back to speeches he was giving in the early part of 2021, you'll hear him starting to use that term dissident. And he worked it into his lexicon and his stump speech.
I'll tell you what, Brent, hold that thought, because let's talk about all this on the show.
Okay. Sorry.
Let's get into it. And John, I kind of want to give you the lead for this next half hour. Kind of give you the reins, sort of control the flow of the show. Ask what you want. I have read the book, Dissonantly Speaking, and it is fantastic. And while Brent is mailing out some tomorrow, he ought to send one to you in the mail as well.
I will.
I'll go buy it. Just send me a link.
Well,
okay.
I'll email it to you,
rather
John.
somebody bought it.
Yeah, all proceeds, by the way, go to support our program with youth. Just so you know, so you're donating to a cause that's helping to bridge the divide, which you and I'll talk more about offline.
My pleasure.
Yeah, I remember coming out on a Tuesday, and I had Brent on the following Wednesday, and I thought I'll just, it's a couple hundred pages. I'll bust it out tonight, before I go to bed. It's not that kind of book. He really makes you sit down and think, and it's very impressive from that aspect. I think you recommend to read it over the course of a month or something.
Well, to read it in chunks, and there's reflection questions actually at the end of each chapter for people to contemplate based on what they had just read, all in that spirit of asking questions of themselves, right? And that. I don't care if somebody believes the same thing they believed before they talked to me or read me. I just care that they thought about it now and now they believe it. I'd like a thought to follow
Here's your
I'd like a
countdown.
conclusion to follow
3, 2, 1, and you're live right now.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Hour 2 of the Censorship Sucks Roundtable radio show. Very special April Fool's edition for 2026. And on that note, I couldn't have a better panel tonight. I'll start with one of my favorite guests all the time. Every month he comes on, Brent Hamachek from Human Events, Just the News. Brent, welcome aboard. Happy to have you for Hour 2 on this special episode.
Yeah, it's nice to be here. I usually only stay for an hour. I'm staying for 2 hours, which means this will push 60 minutes past my bedtime. So I'm going to do my best. If I nod off in the middle of it, please, I hope your audience is forgiving. I'm up quite late.
Awesome. And Bullhorn Barry in the house. How you doing, Barry? I see you're muted. You might have stepped away from your mic for a second. So we'll go over to John Ottman as well. John Ottman, the chairman of the board of the great website minds.com, minds.com. Folks, go check it out if you haven't already. You can find my content over there at minds.com/censorship sucks. Censorship sucks. John, welcome to the show. Thanks so much for coming in.
Thanks for having me. Absolutely.
Awesome. Now, as I said during the break, I wanted to kind of give you the reins of the show here for the next half hour, and kind of we were talking about Brent's book, Dissonantly Speaking, and what a phenomenal job he did putting that together. And you haven't read it yet. Obviously, we'll have you on maybe in another month, and you'll maybe have that under your belt at that point. I'd love to have that conversation with you and Brent once you've actually consumed the book, because I think it'll be an awesome conversation. I think you'll have some fantastic questions that maybe didn't even occur to me. But some of the things he gets into are, team left and team right, and how there's different, what do you call them, platoons, battalions?
Platoons, yes.
Platoons. And each platoon is sort of like an issue. Abortion, think of that as, say, a platoon, and how people align with team left or team right because of how they feel about certain platoons, so to speak. They may not agree on everything, but they agree vehemently on this, so therefore they're team left, or therefore they're team right. And he really creates a opportunity for you to sort of open your mind and think differently about politics and try to look at it from a perspective of, Brent, what do you say? I don't want to say you're wrong. I want to say, what's the question?
Oh, yeah, we in Common Ground Campus, we don't ever say you're wrong. We say I see it differently. And that is that piece of constructive engagement we bring to the table. Certainly okay when people read the stuff I write, if they want to say I see it differently. If they tell me I'm wrong, I'm going to say that's not very nice. Would you like to rephrase? But in any case, everything we do in the Common Ground Campus program and everything about this book is just to try to get people to open their minds and think and consider, as I like to say, and John, as you and I get to know each other, we'll hopefully get to know each other better over time. I believe that one of the most dangerous things that a free society can face are axioms that aren't true. And there are a lot of things in this country that people take as being axiomatically true that are not. And so the goal of the book, the goal of all of our work, is to stop and think about what you're being told and stop taking so many things as a given as being true and really challenge them. Not challenge them for the sake of challenging them. It's not about trying to be combative. It is about trying to be thoughtful. And, I think the two greatest questions that ever have been formed in all of human history are why and why not. And we need to do a better job of asking those questions, not in a cynical way, but a thoughtful way.
Well, I mean, what I learned in the break, which I'll tell everyone, is that the book you wrote and the story behind it, as you write for as you were writing for Charlie Kirk, and I think that's a pretty cool story, and maybe you might want to just share that a little bit. I mean, at Minds.com, as I was saying earlier, we literally went off site one day, did a strategic planning session, and we decided the strategy of the company was going to be to bridge the divide, to get left working with right, to get people dialoguing. And it's only through dialogue that you can actually achieve harmony. Is sort of and we wrote academic papers with professors on the subject, and Bill and Jack, my sons, have done that. And it's really a critical strategy. And I think Charlie Kirk was the explosion of that idea. I mean, he took it to the next level. And what was it like, like writing for him and putting a book out, with him and helping communicate that message with him?
Well, it's a fun question. My history with Charlie was long and broad. So people talk about all the different things I did with him. The thing I was probably the most tickled with that I ever did with Charlie Kirk is I was his original weight room trainer. The last few years of his life, and people would say, "Man, I saw Charlie. He's really getting bulked up." I just kind of smile and say, "Yeah, he must have had a good weight training program." But in any case, he and I worked together for effectively a decade, and wrote his columns, and did his political science training, did his persuasive communication training, and was effectively his media coach, or one of them, for from 2014 through 2016. And so extraordinary to watch him grow and develop. People will thank me or compliment me. Oh, wow, it's great that you worked with Charlie. You did such a good job. They have it backwards. He was going to be great no matter who worked with him. But I would not have the opportunities I have today if he had not worked with me. So I didn't make him. It's in reverse. He made me. And he made me by allowing me to share and contribute the things I know, whatever, with him. And by doing that, that elevated me to a status that I never would have been at otherwise. So Charlie Kirk made me, and he made me by giving me an opportunity to help him. It's pretty simple, straight up.
And so when you write the book, when you write your book, is it you talking or Charlie?
So fun stuff. So first of all, there's different ways to answer that question depending upon what I was writing. So dissonantly speaking, the book we were talking about during the break, we talked about at the beginning of the segment. That book is not Charlie. That book is myself. And then again, my dear friend and colleague, Felissa Blazek, who really is the brains behind the Common Ground Campus program. I always tell people, she does all the work and I just show up at an event or something. I spend 60 minutes doing something. She spends 60 hours setting it up. And she's the one that created it. So that book is hers and mine. But with the other stuff, the stuff I did with Charlie, it depends. So I'll share a couple of fun things with you. First of all, a statistic. I'll give you a stat. I put together just recently for fun. I was curious. The all of the opinion columns and the radio show monologues from his early radio show days in 2020 and 21 that I wrote for him. It came out to 367,000 words. That's 1,250 pages in 12-point Microsoft Word font. Okay, so it's a lot of content. And early days when we were working together, his ideas and mine were essentially the same. And when he would pick a topic that he wanted to write about, I'd just give him I'd ask him a quick question, anything special you want to say? And he'd hit a couple things. I'd write the column almost like I was writing it for myself. He'd take it and he'd get it published, right? Because our thought process was very, very similar. And that started to change over time as Charlie became deeper and deeper into his faith, especially that more evangelical sort of notion of it. And while he was doing that, I was going in a different direction. And so by the time we lost him, he was very, very much a devout and serious Christian fundamentalist, I'll say, for lack of a term. And I am a confirmed deist. So, we're very far apart, which meant as we continued to work together, my writing for him became more challenging for me because I wasn't able to just take a topic and write what I thought, and he thought the same thing. Oh, no. Now I really had to get exactly what he thought and what he wanted to say because it was counterintuitive to my own thoughts. So we evolved over time.
Wow.
And but we still did it together, and it worked. There were a lot of things I wrote for him, some short books and booklets and essays and things in the last couple of years of his life, stuff I wrote that I literally didn't agree with hardly even a word of it, but wrote it anyway because I certainly supported his right to say it, and it was a privilege to work with him.
Well, I mean, it's a real transformation that he brought to U.S. politics, and it's awesome that you had a big role in that, actually.
Well, I had some role, but again, I can't stress enough. In the plainest way to say it is what I already said. I didn't make him; he made me, straight up. So, um, the role I played is a role that would have been played by any one or more people that he had chosen to play it. Right? I mean, it's like casting for a major movie. You get all kinds of folks lining up; they could all play the role. Who gets picked? And everybody said, "Oh, didn't they do a great job?" Yeah, yeah, George Clooney did. Brad Pitt would have been just as great, right? Because it was a great movie. And Charlie Kirk was a great movie. And I just got cast in a role.
Yeah, it's hard to think of. It's hard to think of anybody who emerged so quickly on the political scene and had so much influence. I mean, it really was a barnstorm. In 3 or 4 years, he just emerged. I mean, he was dominating social media in a really big way, like few people have ever done. It's quite remarkable.
Brent, what do you think of all the conspiracies going on behind the scenes? All these wild rumors. I don't even want to say her name, but What do you think of all that? Do you take it personally?
She who shall not be named. Well, I don't take it personally. None of it's directed at me. I take it as an extraordinarily interesting form of garbage. I have a really simple thing to throw out to anyone with any sort of crazy conspiracy they're peddling to the public. It's pretty simple. I want to know this, and I sure wish, by the way, there was a way to actually do this, what I'm about to construct. But I want to know that if the great, omnipotent, all-powerful being of knowledge and truth came down before them and stood before them, that being that knows the truth about everything, and at the same time, somebody suddenly shows up standing next to them with a gun, a Glock pointed at their temple, and then they are told, all right, your latest conspiracy theory is X. The great giver of truth standing in front of you knows the truth. So you have to bet your life. Is your theory true or not true? Simple. Bet your life. I want to know if Candace Owens and people like her would actually bet on their theories, if that gun was at their head and the truth was in front of them, or if they might just hedge. And I suspect most all of them would hedge, because I suspect most all of them are simply in this for one reason: to gin up hatred and to use that hatred to create a swirl around them so that they can get more attention, get more subscribers, get more money, get more power, have more influence. And the tragedy about it is not all these conspiracy theories. That's not the tragedy. The tragedy is the members of the human race that pay attention to them and follow them and subscribe to them. That is the tragedy. As I have said before, and I'll leave it here, Mein Kampf is a book on a back shelf in a library, dusty and old and almost non-existent to memory, if the people of Germany don't elect Adolf Hitler chancellor a few years later, and if they don't follow him into war to conquer Europe, and if they don't decide it's a good idea to exterminate the Jewish people. It is not about the bringer of the word. It is about those who follow it. And we need to take personal responsibility. So before we go after Candace Owens, let's go after her subscribers and the people that give her credence. That's the problem, the real problem. But I don't feel strongly about it.
But what about you, John?
I was watching Dan Bongino, a Good Minds user, yesterday, and somebody had started a rumor that the shell casing from the rifle that was found on the roof didn't match the wound or the fragments that were found in the wound, and actually it was a complete misreading of what the actual report was. and the report was that they couldn't tell what the fragment came from, but it came out as if it's not this. The gun, it's a different. The shell casing didn't match the thing, so it was like total bullshit. And Bongino went apoplectic on this thing yesterday. He really went crazy on it, and he's certainly in an interesting position to have a pretty good perspective on what actually happened. So I was glad to see that rumor got squashed.
Well, there's an interesting thing that people have to accept with regards specifically to the conspiracy theory around Charlie Kirk's assassination, and that is this. And I will offer that what I'm about to say literally can't be challenged. And that is, if the story that's being presented in court, that the young man who shot Charlie did not, in fact, was the one that shot him, but that there was an entire conspiracy involved that perhaps includes the state of Israel, other actors, another shot, all of this stuff. If that is the case, that means that Donald Trump and his administration were either involved in ordering, blessing, or covering up Charlie Kirk's assassination. End of. Because the FBI's been there, they've invested all of this, right? And in order for this to actually have a conspiracy behind it, there's no way to pull that off without the Trump administration being involved. And I'm not buying it. Sorry, I'm not buying it. And I'm not on the air with you tonight as some big Trump supporter, right? Anything but. But I'm not buying that Donald Trump was either involved in ordering, blessing, or covering up the assassination of Charlie Kirk. It's bollocks.
But one thing that's for sure is that there's been a complete lack of forthcoming information to me. It seems that way. Maybe I'm not following it closely, but it doesn't seem like there's a lot of information out there to put all these other perspectives away.
Well, I don't know. We only have a few seconds left, and you're opening up a pretty big can of worms. So I would say, the shooter confessed. His parents turned him in. They found the rifle. It's pretty open and shut. I don't think there's anyone that would say this isn't just an open and shut case, and the guy's guilty as can be from what we've seen so far. So I don't know what's really missing. What else I need to see.
Well, it's not so much who's the shooter, but like how did he ever get to that point, and who else?
Right. But John, here's the thing, and just takes 2 seconds here, and that's what trials are for. And if we think about this case and what Candace Owens and others have done, and we think, well, why aren't they giving us all the facts? Because that's not what ever happens. Those things aren't presented until a trial. I mean, an investigative reporter might get a leak somewhere from the DA's office or whatever.
On that note, we've got a hard break. We'll bring this up right when we come back, I promise. Folks, this is the Censorship Sucks Roundtable radio show. We'll be right back after these messages.
All right, we're on radio break. You guys are hot tonight.
Fun stuff.
This is fire, man. We're hitting it on all cylinders tonight. I'm so happy.
Thanks, everybody. We're just for having you back, John. I didn't catch you earlier and say that, but appreciate you coming in with us.
Hey, man, are you kidding me? With you guys?
Yeah, with us.
You guys are the base.
Hey, are you familiar with Beam, John?
With who?
Beam streaming.
BEAM. Beam, yeah. Mark, explain.
Yeah.
I'm stepping away for 1 second, guys.
Angel Munoz.
Jim Beam?
No, not Jim Beam. Come on. Yeah. Well, yeah, he can be a friend too, but he's not so much of a good friend to.
Okay, it's Beam Gaming. It's a multi-streaming service, right? Yeah. So if you're a gamer, you can go to Beam, set up an account there, pretty much for free, and then shoot it out to every other website that you want to broadcast it to, right?
Yeah, ton.
And they're growing like crazy. He's got like one of the fastest growing sites out there in this area, and he's going to be on the show next month as well. So I thought maybe if you're down, I'd be happy to introduce you to him on the air.
Sure, I'd love to. I'm my gaming experience, it's it goes back to when
Well,
Natural.
he does
little
so much
guys
more
and,
than gaming, though. I stream there.
He's in your realm.
I'm really not, I'm pretty good with Sunset Riders, but I'm not exactly the gaming guy that you might want for that. But
No, but it's a social media site as well. I mean, it's you're in the same realm. You really are. You should know each other.
sure.
I'll send you some links and stuff when we get done with the show.
Yeah.
And if you find it interesting, you're welcome to come on. If you don't think you can add much to the conversation, we don't need you. It's all good.
He does mostly video platforming, John.
Yeah.
And with his platform, and he also has I can't remember what the communication thing. He has a phone service too, but you can do.
Oh, yeah.
You can. I stream. I always do my stream and have all the restreams that I connect to through Beam Streaming. All right, and
Yeah.
it's great.
And it consolidates all the comments too,
Yes.
which is really cool. So you get all the comments. Like if somebody quotes comments on YouTube, you see it in Beam.
Yeah, there's only a few that it can't do that with, but it's very rare. Rumble and BitChute are the two that I use that it doesn't do that with, but it usually catches everybody else's.
So, as we got about a minute before we go back live, you want to dive into some new stuff, or what? Is there anything else in particular?
Whatever John wants. Literally, I mean that. John, whatever you want to do, I'm in. I'll follow you.
Which John?
John, I'm the distinguished guest, John.
Okay, I'm in.
with whom I'm trying to make a good impression, since it's my first impression. You see?
Oh no!
Oh man, you didn't come on shirtless. That's
Yeah,
going to
'cause I
set
do
you
that
back.
a lot.
That's going to set you back at least 3 points, at least with the grannies. But anyways,
Right.
we're under 30 seconds, fellas.
Remember, you can't see me from the waist down.
That's only censorship.
That's
sucks.
probably a good thing, though. Family friendly. Look out, cats, dogs, and kids. Here we come again with another countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And you're back live and on the radio side right now.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Hour 2 of the Censorship Roundtable Radio Show. Wednesday night edition, a very special April Fool's edition, in fact. And with us tonight, we've got Brent Hamachek. How you doing, Brent?
Never better. Good to be here always.
The distinguished author of Dissidently Speaking. Folks, go buy it now. It's a phenomenal book. We spent a good amount of time tonight talking about it. So make sure to get that checked out. If you like social media, Minds.com is your site. We've got John Ottman, the chairman of the board for Minds, with us tonight. How you doing, John?
Hey guys.
And of course, Bullhorn Barry.
Hey, just enjoying, man. Listen to everybody's opinion. Right?
Yeah. Jump in there. Jump in. Feel free to jump in.
Different opinion.
Freedom fighter Victor.
Well, Victor part's going to be important, I hope, right?
Yeah, and now Brent and I have talked extensively about this next subject. So, John Ottman, I think I'd like to bring you in just to hear what you have to think about this big, beautiful war we've got going on over in the Middle East with Iran. Brent, I know what you're thinking. We'll get to you in a second.
I'm good. I could listen to John for a half hour and just might.
He's opinionated, though. You definitely, I know you have something to say about it. That's for sure. Donald Trump asked for 4 weeks. It has been 4 weeks. Pretty much today's the first, so is it mission accomplished?
Well, I think he's gonna make a speech in like an hour and a half. Is what I heard. He's got like a 9 p.m. Eastern time announcement on that. So, probably some of you guys are closer to the scoop on that. But I think he's gonna probably say, gonna wind it down. I don't think he's going to get stuck in there with ground troops. I don't see that happening. I think he's a pretty smart player. He's not going to get sucked into that, I don't think. I don't think you have to send in the ground troops to keep the Straits of Hormuz open. I don't think that's necessary. And so, you know, he's just not. I think he's going to write a new doctrine for the U.S. military, which is how to go in and do an engagement like this and then leave, and let them figure it out. And maybe people will say, you didn't succeed in the regime change. Well, it's not. It's really up to the Iranians to succeed on the regime change more than us. I think that's what people get really pissed off about, is when we start putting nuclear threats gone. It's not really up to us to tell them what kind of government that they should have. They should make that own decision. But we should set a good example, and hopefully they'll pick a good democratic system. Iran, when I was young, was a very Western country. Like most younger people in America today don't realize that, beyond 50 years ago, Iran was a vibrant Western society. You didn't have people, under authoritarian socialist Islamic regime that's just snuffed the life out of that place. So I'm hoping, and I think that the people of Iran are behind what's going on. I have some friends in the future, I think, and in terms of, I've talked to them a lot, and they've been power and the use of air power and naval power, and I mean, they just like, wow. I mean, I remember early on, Reagan smacked the Ayatollah went with the jets, and then you didn't hear a peep from those guys for like a long time. And then, as Obama administration went on, totally turned that around, then they got very dangerous. So I think they're defanged. Hopefully the nuclear threat's gone. It's not really up to us to tell them what kind of government that they should have. They should make that own decision. But we should set a good example, and hopefully they'll pick a good democratic system. Iran, when I was young, was a very Western country. Like most younger people in America today don't realize that, beyond 50 years ago, Iran was a vibrant Western society. You didn't have people, under authoritarian socialist Islamic regime that's just snuffed the life out of that place. So I'm hoping, and I think that the people of Iran are behind what's going on. I have some friends in Dubai, and I've talked to them a lot, and they've been under attack. They've got drones blowing up there, and they're feeling good, I think. And they're right there in theater. I was just talking to them the other day, and so I'd say there's a good chance that that the U.S. can conclude this, end the nuclear threat, keep the Straits of Hormuz open, and they've blown Iran out of our hemisphere. They've blown up strategically Iran's military and energy connections with China and Russia. I mean, it's been a massive strategic win so far for the U.S. And as long as we can keep it where it is now, it could be Trump's signature move as a president. But we'll see over the next month, how that plays out. I think the next month will tell the story. Certainly, you look at Venezuela, and that's a spectacular result. I mean, that's an amazing result. I read the Venezuelans are now shipping oil into the world market, and receiving, the best price for their oil that they've been receiving, for 30 years. You know, and I've been to Venezuela before it collapsed, and I'll tell you that's a wonderful country, wonderful people. They were imprisoned by terrible leaders and a terrible system down there, and now they're free, and I think they're all really happy. And I think there's a good chance that that's the case in Iran. I think there's a good chance of that. So maybe they've done a really good job, and I think we can hold out hope for that until there's some evidence to the contrary. But maybe it's going to be a huge win for the Trump administration. That's what I think.
Brent?
Well, I'm left with just a bunch of questions, and questions that are going to take some time to answer. And I've got embracing my inner Lieutenant Columbo. I've just got a few things that are bothering me, and one of the things that bothers me is this idea about the nuclear threat. I get it. I have two different concerns about that. One is, I thought last year we eliminated the nuclear threat. We were told that we did. So I thought that was done. If it wasn't done, by the way, were folks mistaken when they told us it was, or were they lying? That's the universe of options, by the way. There are no other options. They were either mistaken or lying. Either's concerning. So if that wasn't what we really were doing here this time, then I'm still trying to figure out what the objective of the mission was. Something, by the way, we still have never heard clearly articulated. Doesn't mean there wasn't one. We just don't know what it was. But I guess that could be okay. I'm still troubled at the go forward idea of, and I talked about this on your show last month, I think, I did at least somewhere. What if Marco Rubio, some weeks ago, did something very, very unusual when he came out and talked to the press? What if he actually told the truth? I mean, nobody in Washington tells the truth. I get that. So it's kind of a hypothetical. So what if Rubio told the truth? And when he said that the reason we attacked Iran, is that we heard that Israel was going to attack. And if Israel had attacked and we hadn't attacked first, then we would have been attacked in retaliation. So we attacked because they were going to attack. And so that led to us acting. Folks, what if that's true? If that's true, every single American citizen needs to be terrified that somehow or other another nation's decision, a nation, by the way, that only exists because of us helping it, that its decisions are making ours for us. That is terrifying. If Rubio was telling the truth. Trump, of course, the next day said he wasn't. So, okay, I don't know, but that's bothering me. And the next thing that bothers me is all the things that are going to happen next that we have no idea what they are. So when we decided to attack Iran in the Middle East, to attack a very fundamentalist Islamic regime, when we decided to do that, when we decided to essentially go in and destroy their way of life for what will be a long time, the disruption and damage we've caused, by the way, I'm not morally objecting to that. But as a practical matter, what we did do is we just spilled a glass of water all over the globe. And I have no prediction what comes from it. But I'm concerned by it. And I'm especially concerned at what Israel's incursion into Lebanon potentially means going forward, and just how far that's going to go, and just exactly what it is we're going to permit. Or do we get to permit anything? What's the tail and what's the dog? And what's wagging what? I don't know. That is not, by the way, just to be clear, that is not some sort of anti-Semitic statement. It isn't. It's being concerned as an American that another nation's activities may be in fact driving our own when it ought to be the other way around.
Okay, Glaper.
Yeah, there we go.
Just kidding. Let's see here. Okay, we got to talk about this one. Christy Noem's husband. Shocking cross-dressing photo scandal and explicit messages. Did you see him with these gigantic breastages?
Yeah. Did.
I didn't.
In the day of AI, I don't know what to make of that. I mean, it'd be so easy to fake that, but apparently this has got some legs to it. And I don't know. I think she's going to be single here soon. She might be on the market, fellas.
I thought she was hooked up with Corey Lewandowski.
Yeah, that too. But
She had a bad week. She had a bad couple of weeks.
Yeah.
She's had a bad couple of years, really, in a sense. My goodness.
She went from a $200 million Marlboro campaign to, this. I mean, she had a bad week.
Yeah, I don't know what to say. I don't know, Barry, you got a little snide remark you want to add to this?
Yeah, I just kind of wish I hadn't seen it. That's all I want to say. I did see it. I wish I hadn't seen it. I don't think I can unsee it.
Okay. Yeah, it's kind of funny though. I swear he looks the part too. I hate to say it, but you see him in that, and it's like, oh, okay, yeah, all right, no, thank you, goodbye. Let's move on. This person probably shouldn't be our head of DHS.
Well,
yeah,
do you think Trump knew, and that's why he fired her, because it was actually this?
That's what they're saying.
It could be, yeah, and the Lewandowski thing, right?
Yeah, I mean that I haven't read too much about that, but
it's a wild world, though. I want to say this is Florida, but not possible to tell which twin is the father because mother slept with both in the same week. So this woman has sex with two twins in the same week, gets pregnant, and now they're trying to do a maternity test and they can't say. It's just now, Brent, is this the black pill world that Barry was trying to warn us about?
I don't know, but stories that start with a Florida man or a Florida woman are always quite interesting, aren't they? But there is nothing like the story that came out last week. Nothing like the story. I think it was last week about the gal who, with no arms and no legs, who was a cornhole champion, who was arrested for shooting a man and killing him in her car that she was driving. And as you read this incredible story, by the way, it's not made up, covered it in just the news. Near the end of the whole thing, the one paragraph starts with, police have yet to explain how she was driving a car or fired a weapon. There's no way you can read the story and not think it was Monty Python or Mel Brooks at their finest. And yet it was true. And wait for it. It was a Maryland woman, not a Florida woman, which shows that the oddities in American life are expanding. But yeah, it's I'm not sure how this woman with no arms, no legs was driving a car, shot a person at the same time, and was a cornhole champion.
Well, professional cornhole.
Professional cornhole.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Yes.
I didn't know that was a job.
Well, it's a distinction, right? I mean, I suspect you could work at Starbucks, say as a barista, with no arms, no legs, and still be a cornhole champion in your spare time. So remember what the old jokes we used to do when we were kids. What do you call someone with no arms and no legs in a pile of leaves? Russell. What do you call someone with no arms, no legs in a body of water? Bob. What do you call a woman with no arms and no legs driving a car who also plays cornhole? A murderer. This is, guys, the world has just passed us by.
Bonkers.
Yeah.
Yeah. And of all the things too, somehow she got him in the trunk of the car. I could barely do that on my own, able-bodied. To drag a human being into the trunk of a car is not very easy. So how to do it with no limbs? I could see auto drive. Okay, fine. Tesla, right? punch in an address and off you go. You just got to touch the wheel with your nubs every now and then. And they played a video of him or her. I think it was a him, but you're saying her.
Yeah, well, that's the way the headline read, woman. But hey,
Yeah.
in this day and age, who knows? You know,
Yeah.
maybe the person was both. Is
Mhm.
both.
Yeah, they showed him shooting a gun, though. It was quite impressive. He actually could pick up a gun and shoot it. Could you imagine, though? You'd see him working the gun up, and then all of a sudden it's pointing at you, and all of a sudden you're dead. Just
Yeah, I mean, it would be impossible to take your own death seriously. I mean, you would be lying there with your last breath leaving you, and you would be thinking to yourself, "Really, this is how
Is
I'm
this
going
how I'm going out?"
Yeah, I mean, wow. You get up to heaven, and you get to the gates, and they say, "What happened?" Well, so I don't know. It's like this. You guys aren't going to believe this, but try us. We've heard everything. Well, there was this person, and they were a quadruple amputee. Wait, stop. We don't buy it. Right? You're not getting into heaven. They're not buying the story. They're going to send you somewhere else.
John, you want to add to that? And if you want to say no to further your career, I don't blame you.
No, I think we can leave the no legs in the arms conversation behind.
Right. Then let's get serious here, and we'll talk about the Supreme Court. Donald Trump was the first president ever in the history of the presidency to go and sit and be present at a hearing in the Supreme Court, and he was involved. It was Trump versus whatever, and it's about birthright citizenship. He wrote an executive order that says, birthright citizenship should not be a thing. I think there's like 1.5 million Chinese people that are American citizens because they were flown over here to give birth and go back, and they've got that birth certificate in hand. They've never stepped foot in America because they couldn't walk during the 3 months that they were here. They might have crawled across a little bit of America, but that's it. No memory of it, no nothing, no allegiance, but yet pure U.S. citizen. Is that something we should have? John Ottman, should we be doing that?
I think he's on to something on this one. What I heard was that, and it was from him, was that the birthright citizenship came about as a result of slaves and the children of slaves, and so the parents weren't citizens, but the children were born here. So the whole thing happened so that those slaves could become citizens. But now it's totally just being gamed, and it's not being used for anything close to what the altruistic motive behind the original law. And so I think actually the Supreme Court, there's a good chance that he could win that. Because and he's got a lot of evidence, the Chinese guy the Chinese billionaire who has 57 children that he's fathered in the United States. He's 57 children. I was reading that today. So I think there's a lot of evidence that people are just taking advantage of it, and the law was never meant to be some sort of it's your lucky day you were born in the United States. It was never supposed to be that. It wasn't supposed to be like a lucky day thing. It was supposed to take care of black slaves.
Yeah. Brent, Marco Rubio could be called potentially a anchor baby, in the fact that his parents were in the application process when he was born, but neither of them were U.S. citizens when he was born, but he got that citizenship because he was born here. How does that complicate maybe his potential run for presidency?
Well, I don't think it does, and this is fun. I mean, so John, this is where like in our Common Ground campus program, we'll say I see it differently, and I do see it quite differently. First of all, in no particular order, I think, to the extent that Trump had even a remote chance of winning this case, even a remote chance, he lost it today by showing up. That move, the first time a president's ever done it, look, there's only one reason to do that. You're trying to intimidate the justices. And that's just straight up clear. And the stuff he said after the last ruling, right before the State of the Union speech about the justices, the personal insults, the whole bit, it's very clear what his thoughts are about them. Showing up in person. Look, if this vote was going to be 5-4, it just flipped 5-4 the other way. That's my opinion. We'll see what happens. I don't think he has any chance of winning the case, because while you're right about the original timing of the amendment, the problem is there's been a ton of case law since, and even legislation that has affirmed the notion that it does in fact apply to anyone born here. This is one of those that if we want to change it, we either have to change the Constitution, or the United States Congress and the White House would have to come together to pass a piece of legislation that would somehow restrict and limit the right. But he's not going to be able to get away with altering a constitutional amendment with an executive order. In my mind, there is zero chance of that happening. I think the vote likely will be 6-3. We'll see. And, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If I am wrong, it's going to be interesting to see what happens afterwards, right? Mm-hmm. Because all hell breaks loose after that, if you think about it, just because of the extraordinary number of people to which it currently applies. So I think, I was on your show every month, right? So way back when he did it, I said I didn't think it had any chance of surviving a constitutional challenge. I don't think it does. We will see. And so, John, you and I see that one differently. And, maybe sometime, after June when the court rules, I think it's going to come out in June sometime. Maybe we can come back and chat about it over a cup of coffee.
Absolutely. I mean, I'll tell you, if you haven't, been to the Supreme Court and been able to sit there and watch them in session, it's something you got to put on your bucket list to go see. And you can, you gotta make an appointment for it. It's like, you got to sign up, but you can go in there and you can sit there and you can listen to them, and they come out on this stage and they have these big chairs they sit in. And, it is really, it give you goosebumps up the back of your neck to sit in there and you feel the vibe of this country's justice system in a big way. And imagine President Trump in the front row looking up at those guys. I mean, you're right. That is an intimidation. And I didn't think of that. That's, I think you're exactly right. And that is the reason why no other president's ever done it. It could be a big mistake. You could be right.
Interesting about going in person real quick. When I was in college, I went to a Supreme Court session, and they were arguing a case about ERISA, the Employee Retirement Income and Security Act. A boring subject, right? That's what I got to sit and listen to. So boring was that topic that Thurgood Marshall fell asleep during the oral arguments on the bench. It was clear as day that he was sound.
Clear as time.
Take care. All right.
All right.
See you guys.
We'll see you guys.
Bye, everybody.
Yep.
Ciao.
All right. That was Censorship Sucks, and the end of that. Let's get Jack Carey going. Jack's got all sorts of goodies for us, I'm sure, tonight, especially with the launch stuff going on. And he'll probably have other conspiracy type stuff to talk about. Let's get Jack going. Calling Jack up. Jack should be here very shortly.
Hello.
Hey, Jack, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Doing pretty good. Switching some stuff around on the old OBS, and we'll get you seen here. Are you going to use your camera tonight?
I've not had luck. I've had not